Welcome to Play and Learn. I'm Dr. Susan, and we're here this morning to spend some time together. Today, we're going to take a look at who we are, just in case you don't know who you are. But we're going to look and see how that comes to be with the book that we're going to be reading. And the book that we're reading is the Zen Pig. We read one of his before, which is a cute story. And actually, it's not really a story. It kind of tells us how we can be in the world and how we can make a difference not only for ourselves, but for everyone else, too. So we're going to take a look at that today. And the title is The Wonder We Are. And amazingly, we are a wonder. So we're going to take a look at that, and then I've created a little bit of an idea of what might bring that to our attention on a daily basis. So we're going to get started with the story. Oh, and the author is Mark Brown, and Amy, let's see if I can find that for you, Largwig is the one that did the illustrations. So let's take a look at that, and we're going to get started with that right now. All right, so let's get started with the story. Okay, I love the illustrations. Greg does such a good job on our illustrations for us, doesn't he? All right, this is Zen Pig, and this is book number 2, and it's The Wonder We Are. And I already told you who wrote the book and who the illustrator is. I love the illustrations. They're so cool. Granted the gift of the sun's first light, Zen Pig sits under a tree, enjoying the sight. So he's simply observing the tree that he's sitting under. And some of the things which we've talked about before in one of the first books that we did, talked about what the tree offers us. So we're going to talk a little bit later about what the tree offers. So remember about the tree. Passersby stop amidst a morning stroll to curiously ask, what's Zigpen up to on that green grassy knoll? So there's a tiger, and I don't quite know what the other character is. Let's see if we get a better look. A tiger. One said to the other, I'm not quite sure. The other looked excited and said, let's find out more. So we have a tiger, and I guess that's a monkey. I'm not quite sure. Excuse us, Zen Pig. Please tell us what you see, because it appears to us to be just a regular old tree. So remember their statement. Ah, Zen Pig said, a small smile on his face. The tree is just the beginning. There's much more to embrace. The tree is just the beginning. When I look at this tree, I see every drop of rain, every ray of sunlight, every bird it will sustain. Now look at that. Does that make you think a little bit more about what that tree has to offer? All kinds of things. So remember that. Remember the things that rain and sunlight and birds, because we're going to tie all that together. Within a glass of water, there lies a cloud in the sky. Within every piece of toast, a farmer on which it relies. He's giving all kinds of interesting information, isn't he? Every plant and every being are all intertwined. The well-being of all we must bear in mind. So there's the pig, and he's sitting between flowers. And if you look really close, can you see the butterfly? And do you see the ladybug? And I see a worm and mushrooms. You see all that too? The whole of nature is more than it appears. We must look closely and keep our minds clear. Look at that. Now, if you look really close at the story, because we're not going to see it when we're talking, we have a flower, and then we have the wind that's blowing. Of course, you can't see the wind that's blowing, but you can see up at the top, you see the petals of some of the flowers being blown. And then you see flowers and the bees. The bees are searching for honey. And they take the honey, they take back the, they don't get honey from the tree, the flower, but they do get the sweet sap and stuff that's inside the flower. And they bring it to the honeybee. And then if you look at Zen Pig down at the bottom, he's putting honey in his tea. So look how that's all connected. And as he said, it was all intertwined. Right. Then we will see the wonder we are, our great connection, even with the stars. I know I like to look at the stars at night. No matter what you see, take the time to look close, and you'll be marveled and amazed by what it will show. I think the monkey's puzzled about that, scratching his head and looking at the tiger. How are we all entwined? And the pig always ends with his stories with namaste, which means the light in me loves the light in you. So there's our wisdom from Zen Pig this week. I love the dancing the end. And we'll dance right into the next part of our program this morning. All right. Now there's all kinds of things that Zen Pig showed us, and how the flowers and how their seeds float away. I have to tell you a story about my front yard, which kind of ties this all together. Last summer, or last spring, my daughter planted pumpkin seeds in the backyard. And by Halloween, we had these giant pumpkins, which were just amazing. My grandsons were just amazed. And I don't know if you've ever seen a pumpkin vine, but they're really, really, really long, and they spread all over, not just in a little clump. I mean, they just trail all over the yard. Well, this year, which was interesting, in my front yard, by my sidewalk that comes up to my house, there is pumpkins. This big pumpkin vine. We noticed the vine first before, of course, we saw the pumpkins, because the pumpkin vine has really pretty yellow flowers. I wish I thought about trying to find a flower that looked like that I could show you. But it's a really pretty bright yellow flower. And underneath the flower is the beginning of a pumpkin. And it's so teeny tiny you can't even see it. So the pumpkin starts to grow from that. And I noticed this probably, 2 months ago, I think it was. But we didn't plant that plant. We didn't put those pumpkin seeds there. I wouldn't have put them right by my sidewalk. We would have planted them a little further so they had a little more room to grow. So we had to constantly move the vine out of the way because we certainly didn't want to hurt the vine. So we have 4 pumpkins, and it's only July. And the pumpkin that's in the yard, the 4 pumpkins in the yard right now are this big. Can you see how big that is? They're this big. I don't know what they're going to look like by October. But anyway, they're this big right now, and they're really pretty orange colored. They started out green, and then they ended up being orange. How in the world did that get there? I didn't put it there. My daughter didn't put it there. So who do you suppose did? Well, if we looked at that picture from Zen Pig, he was showing us that the flower that was blowing in the wind, which is the seeds of the flower, landed in my front yard. So there was whatever bird, could have been a bird, or it could have just been the wind from these orange flowers that grow on the pumpkin vine, somehow ended up in my front yard. So now I have a pumpkin patch in my front yard, which will be kind of cool for Halloween. But anyway, for right now, I'm just kind of leave them there, and we'll wait and see what happens with them. But that continues to tell you about the story, that the birds and the wind and all of that help plant and make our environment green. Like there's acorns and there's walnuts and there's all kinds of things that the wind blows around. And maybe that even ends up in your front yard or your backyard that you didn't put there, but nature did. And it ended up in fertile soil, and that's all it needed, the fertile soil and the water. And of course the water comes from the rain, as we saw in the cup that he held up. There was clouds and rain and the water. And that just comes naturally. And the water is what generated the pumpkin seeds to grow into this beautiful vine. So with that, isn't that a wonder? Especially when we didn't plant it there and all of a sudden there it was, which is very cool. Which is the way a lot of our plants get where they are today. They get there because of the birds that take the seed, pick up the seeds, and also the wind that blows it there. And also, if you think about it, the rainwater, because it not only goes washing through the flowers and the plants and everything, and there you are. It moves it around and puts it in a fertile place, and then it starts to grow, which is so cool. So, but that's the story about my pumpkins in my front yard, which I didn't put there. But I just look at it and I'm just so amazed that, wow, look what nature did for us. It didn't want to put them in the backyard anymore because we didn't plant them this season, but we did last, and now I've got it in the front yard. So it's very, very cool, and it's very fun to watch nature. And nature is part of who we are, too. We are nature. Luckily, we have legs and we have arms, so we can move from place to place. The pumpkin seeds didn't have arms and legs to move to my front yard. So guess what? They had assistance. The assistance was the wind and the rain and the birds, and all of that happens. So all of us, and as Zen Pig said, it's all intertwined. You know, when you saw him standing there with the vines going around him, where you saw the every little plant and every little bug and every little thing like that relates to something about us. Sometimes we don't even think about that. So what I did is I went out into my garden, or my front yard, and I pulled all of these, trimmed all of these little plants. This is called lantana, and I'm told it's a weed. It's a very pretty weed. We have this in our front yard, and it grows very fast and very big, and we have to trim it all the time, but it's really pretty, and it has these pretty flowers that we get all year round. I'm sure that's probably because we live in California. I don't know what if this plant is found anywhere else, but it's very prevalent in California. But that's lantana. This is lavender, and yeah, it has the lavender smell. It's a pretty smell, but this is lavender, and we have like 6 or 7 of these in our yard, these right here. And then this one is just a real pretty little flower. I don't know what kind of flower it is. I'd have to ask my daughter. But anyway, it had pretty little flowers, and I thought that was kind of neat, so I wanted you to see that. And then this one is a vining flower. So it grows we have it in a pot, and it grows around this lattice work, but it's very pretty. So I got that because it has color. So I got that for you to see. There's more of the lantana. And then buried under here, under the rest of my lavender, put this over here, is these little red flowers. They look like, they call them tubes of lipstick. They kind of grow like this, and they hang down like this on the plant. And they look like, I don't know why they think they look like lipstick. Doesn't look like lipstick to me, but that's just what they say. But this is a butterfly plant. And what it does is it attracts butterflies. And we do get a lot of butterflies in our front yard. And it's very pretty to see in the spring when you see all the butterflies getting the nectar and stuff out of the plant and out of the flower. But that's part of that. So what I thought we might do to remind us of all the things, of the wonder of who we are, and this is just a little tiny bit of what nature does for us, and the important things that we have that we use from nature, which is water. That's really important to us because water is a good portion of who our body is, and we have to take care of it with water too, to be sure we drink enough water during the daytime, and especially if we're very active and playing and stuff. And then the others, they bring, at least to my eyes, they bring beauty to our neighborhood and my front yard. So what we're going to do is I've got some. I'm going to move these just a little bit out of the way so you can see what I'm going to do. Kind of shift it around just a smidge. This stuff is called press and seal. So we're going to make a picture out of the flowers. Sorry for the noise. Just going to pull it up like this. And it has a sticky side to it on the other side. Well, I'm going to use scissors. So I will cut this, if the scissors will let me. Probably not. So I'll have to, there we go. There. Okay. And then I'm going to take this. You have to kind of pull it apart. It's kind of got a full sound to it when you pull it apart. So I'm going to take the press and seal and spread it out. So we're going to move the flowers. You won't see them for a few minutes, but I'm going to move them out of the way so that you can see what we're going to do. So I'm just going to move them, shift them a little, and shift this here so you can see it. This is the press and seal. It's a little sticky. Okay. I think that's the right side. Yeah, that's the right side. So we're going to take half of this and kind of pull it down like that. And then we're going to take we're going to kind of make a picture is basically what we're going to be doing. So I'm going to lay the lavender, just kind of like that, on here. So this is kind of fun to do. So if you have flowers in your front yard, or in your backyard, or you go on a walk and you can see flowers that you're allowed to take with you and pick, you can do that. And then I'm going to put some leaves down. See how it sticks? Isn't that cool? So it just kind of sticks. And then I'm going to take this little flower, and I'm going to lay it, probably right here, and just kind of stick it down. I don't want to push too hard on it. Stick it down like that. And then we had the lantana, and I'm going to stick that in here like that, so you see that. And the whole idea of when I thought about this is I thought, wouldn't it be nice that we could create something that we would be able to look at? I know we look at the flowers and things when we go outside, but this tells us almost the whole picture. It takes a seed for these to be there for us, so that we can appreciate the beauty and that the flowers bring to us. It feeds the birds, and it also feeds butterflies and all kinds of things, all kinds of the animals. And the bugs need the plants too, believe it or not. So then when you just take this and bend it, push it over, and you press on it like this. It kind of smushes the flowers a little bit, but so you press like that. I don't know how good of a picture you're going to have of this, but you just kind of go around all the plants and just press it. That's why it's called press and seal. Isn't that interesting? Somebody thought a very clever name. I have stems in my mouth from the flowers. Okay, so it kind of presses the little flower out. So we have it, it looks like this. I'm going to hold it up so you can kind of see it. So it looks like that. Can you see that? So there's the plants, like that. And when we look at this, or at least when I look at this, I try to think of all the things that I'm really grateful for that it does, because it's part of who we are. It's the food for the bugs and the birds and all of that. And lavender is a fragrance that they use for a whole lot of different things. It's a very pretty smell, and it's a very soothing smell. So there's our kind of our little picture, and you can see it over on this side too. This side looks just as good as that side. But this one, you can see actually the veins on the leaves in the back side. Okay, so we're going to take that. That's really cool to have that, but I thought it would be kind of nice. Oh, I forgot the little red ones. Oh, well. You can always make another one. So I'm going to put all this over here. I'll make another one too to take home. And I'm going to move this here. I'm going to take the scissors, and I'm going to cut it down just a little bit. Well, I may. We'll see. These scissors aren't very sharp. There we go. I guess you use the end tips of the scissors. We all have magic tricks, right? So we're going to pull it like that. Remember the tips of the scissors. Sorry, I'm not looking at you while I'm doing this. Okay. And then I'm going to take this paper, kind of lay it here like this to kind of gauge the size. Some of this is going to get on the back, but that's okay. So like that. And then I'm going to just bend it a little like this so I can cut the center. Like that. Then I'm going to take my pencil, just kind of make a little design. Nothing really big, but just make a little design. Curvy lines you can do if you want to make this to have in your house or hang in the kitchen or in your bedroom if you like it. As you just cut right there, and then I'm going to cut around and cut on what I drew on the sides. But can you imagine where paper comes from? I'm sure most of you already know that paper comes from trees. There's man-made paper too. I have a project of making paper. It's kind of messy, and I don't know if we would have enough time, but maybe I'll see if I can figure out how to do that so I can show you how to make paper. It's kind of very interesting, and it's a lot of fun too. But paper is made out of wood pulp, and that's from trees that are grown specifically for their wood. Inside your house, did you know that your walls were made out of wood? Doesn't look like it, but they are. The framework of your house is called studs that holds up the framework of your house. Okay, so that looks pretty good. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I have to trim it a little bit more. Kind of hard to, but you'll get the idea. So we'll trim this up a little bit more, but when it comes to the story that we were reading about what Zen Pig was talking about, is if you just look beyond what you actually see. Like in the first picture, when he showed the tree, and then when they looked at it closely, you got to see, in actuality, all that the tree offers us. It offers a home for the birds, which is very cool. It offered a place for the birds to live. It offers food for the birds and plants and things like that. It offered all of that. And that's just a tree. Can you imagine the ocean? Have you ever looked at the ocean to see what was in the ocean that helps support us? And we support the ocean? Can you imagine that? There's just an abundance of it. Oh, there's some of the stems, but I can cut through those. Whoop. There we go. So if you don't have anything to do and you want to find something fun and creative to do, you might just go out in the garden and see what's out there and see what kind of things that you might be able to create and find ways in which your life relies on the things around your house. And while I'm putting double stick tape around the edge of the frame. Can you imagine what your house offers you? It offers a lot. It offers keeps us dry in the winter or warm in the winter and dry when it rains, or depending on where you live, keeps you warm from the snow. And in California, when we have our super windy weather, it keeps the wind off of us too. And the biggest thing that our house offers is a place for our family to live. And our family offers so much to us. We can't even make a list of that. We'd have a very long list. The love and the warmth and the care, and a place for us to share meals, and a place for us to share time with our family and our friends and all of that. And then if it's anything like my house, we're always creating all kinds of stuff to do. Like I said, my daughter loves to garden, so we have lots of garden things in our backyard. flowers and food, and she does tomatoes and zucchini and cucumbers and tomatoes, and we always have a lovely garden in our backyard in the spring, and we eat it all summer. All right, so let's take and just put this over top of our press and seal and just press it down. So what we have created is a picture to remind us of all that nature does for us or has for us. And this is really kind of cool. You can actually use this side too, is if you wanted to poke a couple of holes in here and put a string like that, you could hang it up on your window and it would be like a sun catcher, that you could see the flowers and the plants through the press and seal that we put there. So I wanted to share the story with you because I thought it was really cool, and it's really nice to remember the wonder of who we are. I mean, you sometimes don't even think about who you are and where you started and where you're going to go, and whether you're always going to live in California or whether you're going to live in a different state or maybe even a different country. You never know. And all the wonderful things that it has to offer us in the people in our community and all of that. That's a picture of who we are. And even though we all look different, we all think differently, and we all probably act differently, one of the things that pretty much is the same about everybody and about plants and animals and everything else is the basis, and the primary part is love. The love that they like to be and give and do for us as we be and give and do for our family and our friends and our community. So the picture says a whole lot. There's a whole lot in this picture. So just look a little bit beyond what you see in the flowers and what they offer and what they give and how they make a difference in our lives. So take a walk around with mom or dad or your older sister and brother and see what the community offers you and what you can see and experience in just where you live. And it's a wonder of all those things that's important to us, moment to moment and day to day. So you guys have a really wonderful week, and I hope to see you next week or when you pull us up on YouTube. And if you gather the things together, you can watch the video again and remember how to do it. It's very easy, lots of fun. Doesn't take a whole lot of stuff to do it either. So thanks very much for joining me. Have a wonderful, wonderful week. And as Zen Pig says, Namaste. The light in me blesses the light in you. Take care. Bye.